to the Golden Hour, your home for all things, insights, discussions, interviews, and other talk about all things Kutztown sports. My name is Tommy Scuderi here with you every Monday at 2 o'clock, and it was a big week of success for KU sports all around this past week. Football, field hockey, soccer, and volleyball all getting big wins this past Saturday and throughout the week. We'll start with talking football. Kutztown had a 49-0 win over Shippensburg, their second shutout defensively of the Raiders in back-to-back years. We caught up with Kutztown running back Steven Burkhardt, who was on the show a little bit earlier in our studio, recorded a good interview with him. We have that for you here now. This is Kutztown running back Steven Burkhardt. I'm here with Kutztown running back Steven Burkhardt. Steve, appreciate you coming on the show.
Of course, man. Happy to be here.
So my first question is just what's the feeling like in the locker room after such a dominant 49-0 performance against Ship?
I mean, honestly, it's just awesome. I feel like we have a lot of guys who just love playing football together. So coming in the locker room, blasting some music, kind of dancing a little bit, celebrating, just an awesome feeling with the guys because we work so hard all week and we kind of preach on Saturday being payday. You get a work week all week, you get payday on Saturday, and we got paid this week, so it was awesome, man.
The offense has really seemed to find its rhythm so far this year. What do you think has been working so well on the way to this 5-0 start?
Honestly, I think just, one, a lot of our guys obviously have made strides, like worked really hard in the offseason, got a lot better. I also just think that we've just been distributing the ball really well. We have a lot of guys scoring touchdowns, a lot of guys making plays, whether that's on offense, whether that's even defense or special teams. So I just think that we are using our playmakers very well. We're getting them in open space, and that's props to the coaching. And that's also props to guys for working hard this offseason and just being more comfortable in the offense.
So what has been the message from the coaching staff, not only regarding just the Shippensburg win, but just throughout the year?
Well, Coach Q says it every week. It's about us. I'm sure Judd probably said that as well. But it truthfully is. I mean, we have a really good team on paper, but if you don't work all week and if you don't take your preparation seriously, and anything can happen. So I just think that the message that Coach Q gives us, it's on us, is true. I mean, we go as far as we take us. So yeah, I guess that's what I would say.
And you personally have had a really good start to the season. What has been working the best for you?
Coach Taylor, actually, and Coach Venditti, too. They always just tell me just to run. I'm someone who I think a lot, and I think when I'm playing and I'm not thinking, I play better, play at my best, and that's kind of how I've just been approaching the game this year, just having more fun on Saturdays, not really thinking about the pressure of the game, just going out there and play football with my brothers, and I think that's been contributing to me having a good beginning of the season.
Yeah, you certainly have been just running. You had a 91-yard run against Shippensburg, which was the longest of your career so far. Can you take us through that play?
Yeah, so obviously that was after the kick return. Sadly got called back. My boy Pert, sorry, brother. But, Coach Q called a counter play, and I was real excited because we worked it all week. And, you get a good counter, you get a puller, he kicks out the end, and you got Maxwell leading the way for you and got them big guys up front. I had a little crease, and I think I shocked some people with running away from guys, but I got a lot of stuff last week for getting caught against Shepherd, so I had to unhook the trailer this week.
So you've had 419 total yards on the ground to start off 2025. It's about 100 yards shy of your 2024 total, and there's still plenty of games left to play. What do you think has helped that growth as a runner?
Honestly, just getting more confident. This off season I worked really hard on trying to get faster and keep my strength and even get stronger. But I just think, honestly, it's a confidence thing. I just feel a lot better running, and you got to give props to the guys up front. You got Ryan Stronecki, Adam Conklin, Billy Everett, CJ Conti, Pat. Then you got Shane Hartman. And you got the tight ends and receivers. Everyone's blocking well, so I just got to run, man. And same with Jay. He's doing his thing too, so.
Yeah, what's your relationship like with the rest of the line, and how does having that chemistry help you as a runner?
It's awesome. Ryan, he's kind of quiet psycho. I love him. Billy, he's awesome. CJ, I mean, I'm close with all of them. I think I have a different relationship with each offensive lineman. I always try to go talk to them in between plays, especially in practice. But I mean, I'm a true believer. If the guys up front love who's behind, I think that they'll want to block even more for you. And I know they love Judd. Hope they love me. I know they love Judd. So Jay. So got to keep it going.
Yeah, you and Jaden Stewart have been really a great duo for a couple of years now, with great production when either of you is on the field. How much does it help from an offensive perspective to be able to alternate between the two of you guys?
I mean, it's awesome, honestly. Actually, our defense talks about it too, because obviously we get to go against them every day in practice, and I'm really close to a lot of guys on the defense. I room with them, so having me and Jay, I'm off the field, you got Jay on the field. I'm on the field. I'm off the field, you got Jay on the field. You got Jay off the field, I'm on the field. It's just nice because the defense never gets a break. I mean, Jay runs really hard, and he's obviously fast as lightning, so it's just awesome. And they bring my style in there. I think defenses can never get comfortable, and it's even better because me and Jay are really close off the field too. We hang out outside of football, so it's never any jealousy or anything between us. We're always supporting each other, and obviously he couldn't go this week. He got an injury, which was unfortunate, but I know he's going to come back stronger, and I told him on the sideline pregame, I got your back, and he was texting me after the game, really happy for me, so it's just awesome. It's even better having a good relationship with your partner in crime.
Yeah, how would you describe your styles of play, just from your perspective? Because there's all kinds of talks about it, but how would you describe your running style versus Jaden's?
I mean, my running style, I think, first and foremost, I love contact. I mean, sometimes you get God out there, but I like contact, and I get fired up talking out there, competing. I got a little bit of elusiveness to me. I can catch the ball, make some guys miss if I have to. And then I guess I got some breakaway speed sometimes. But then you got, on the other hand, Jaden. I mean, he's fast from the start. He's got one of the quickest starts out of the backfield that I've ever seen. He's got a lot better catching the rock over the years, and he's really strong, squats a house. So, I mean, you got two guys back there that, one, just run really hard, can make plays with their legs and finish runs. And then we both, another big thing I think is how much we value pass protection. I mean, we know we got Judd back there, who's an outstanding quarterback, and the offensive line does their job to protect him, and we take pride in picking up whoever the outside guys are, whether that's a corner blitzing or a linebacker, and we stick our nose in there and we play for our brothers. So I think that's what sets us apart, honestly.
Your defense has been pretty terrific pretty much your entire career at Kutztown. They pitched a shutout most recently against Ship. That's the most recent of many that's happened over the last couple of years. How much energy does that give the offense when you have a defense like that on the other end of the field?
I mean, it gives a lot. The defense is awesome. I mean, sometimes you try not to take it for granted because, like you said, ever since I've been here, the defense always has been good. Props to Coach Fargo and Coach Clemens and everyone on the defensive side of the ball, the coaches. But we just got some guys over there who love to play, and I think a big part of why our offense is even playing well is because we really took it personal, this camp, especially because we get to go against that defense every day in practice, whether that's in spring, whether that's in summer. So even just making plays on them, and it's kind of iron sharpens iron, and I think that's gotten us a lot better. But yeah, I mean, the defense is phenomenal. We got some leaders on the defense that are really great players.
What is the key to establishing a sustained rushing attack over the course of a game?
I think you gotta have a plan. I think you have to know what's working and what's not working. You gotta set the tone from the jump, whether you want to pound the rock, or if you kind of want to set up the run, throw some passes, then sneak the run in there, or set up the pass and run the ball, and then I let Judd throw it over the top. But honestly, I think that we've been doing a really good job with the rushing attack. Coach Q's been dialing up some good game plans, Coach Taylor, Coach Venditti, and I mean, it's been awesome because everyone just feeds off of each other, and I think that's why our rushing attack's been so good.
You've seen some really good Kutztown teams in your career so far. You've been a part of them, I should say, more so than seen. How well would you say this team holds up?
I mean, obviously it's still early in the season, so I don't want to jump too high to conclusions. But I mean, we have a really good team. I mean, it's easy as that to say. Obviously, I've played on some good teams the past few years. I think that the difference with this team is just the leadership. We have a lot of guys who played a lot of college football. My class specifically, and then the class above me as well. I just think that I have a different mindset this year. We just really want it, and I think that that's what sets us apart from those other teams. And no disrespect to those other teams because they're phenomenal as well. We have some great leaders. I think that they shaped the players we have now.
What is one part of your game that you have focused on improving over the last year or so?
Sorry. Honestly, probably my speed. I mean, last year I ran hard. I had a couple touchdown runs. Like not many that were like too long, but like I think that was a big thing this off season for me. Just running a lot of hills and just trying to not only, I think in the past I really focused on getting strong, and I think this off season I was really like trying to mend those two together and be like, all right, I'm strong enough right now. I need to work on my speed. So kind of just meshing them together while still working strength, but trying to have that ability to break runs.
Sure. What personal goals have you set for yourself for this season?
Well, I mean, I guess personal goals, like, me and Jay talked about trying to be first team all conference. Like, that would be pretty cool. Our coaches had told us, like, you guys have the capability to be 2 first team all conference running backs, and I think that's a goal right now. I don't really have a specific goal myself. Honestly, I'm just trying to win. I'm trying to win week by week. Be a good leader to the team and be there for my brothers. But whatever we got to do to win, that's how I feel.
And you guys are on your way. I think you're 5 and 7th in the conference at last check, like in rushing yards through the first 5 games. How much, if at all, do you keep an eye on things like that? Where either, standings wise, or keep an eye on the rest of the conference or even the country to see where you hold up against these other teams?
I mean, I was kind of talking to you a little bit before we started, and I've kind of been trying not to look at the stats and stuff, just because I just want to play, and I don't want to get too held up on like how much I'm running for or how much other guys are running for, because it's easy to get distracted from the bigger picture. I mean, it's cool for sure. I mean, we definitely jumped in the standings. I've seen that, and it's cool to hear that me and Jay are in the top 10, which is awesome. But there's still a long season ahead of us. We got a job to do, and I mean, when it's all said and done, I'll definitely look and see what we got, where I stand. But yeah, I just don't want to get too fed into that because then it just takes away from the bigger picture.
So game plan wise, I'm curious what a week looks like in this system. So Saturday you had the game against Shippensburg. From Sunday on, what is the rest of this week going to look like as you look towards Lock Haven?
Well, so Saturday we had the game. Sunday, I typically try to go get a lift in, get recovery in, try to get all that lactic acid out, and try to get my body prepared for Monday. And today we would kind of start watching film and do our striders and kind of trying to make sure everyone's healthy and recovering, and we'll watch the game from Saturday, and once that's over, we'll on to the next. I mean, fix our mistakes. We give some awards and praise some guys for playing well on Saturday, but after that's done, Coach Clemens is big on moving on to the next week and going 1-0 every week. Kind of not really looking at your record as a whole, just building on it, stacking it week by week, and then you go on to Tuesday, or it's a big meeting day, and we watch film, and then we have a later practice. Wednesday, try to fix some mistakes from Tuesday. Thursday, more meetings, and later practice. You have Friday walkthrough, and then Saturdays just getting ready for the game. And I know that'll be a night game at Lock Haven, so that'll be fun.
So my final question is that, every team has their strengths, but in your opinion, what makes this year's Kutztown team special?
I've had this conversation actually with a bunch of guys on the team, Freddie Redder, Judd, Jaden, a lot of older guys on the team, and I just think that the relationships that we have with each other sets us apart. I mean, we compete with each other so much, but at the end of the day, we all have each other's back, and we love playing football with each other. We love seeing each other succeed. Like, offense roots for the defense, defense roots for the offense, and honestly, it's just a different feeling this year, kind of seeing the guys that you came in with as a freshman just making plays, and you're really happy for them. And I think that's kind of what sets us apart. We have a lot of different types of leaders on this team, and I think the coaches did well molding us from the jump, and I think that we responded well. And we just have a lot of guys that love playing football with each other, and I think that's amazing. And I mean, when you have a team that's run by the players and not by the coaches, you have a special thing. So I hope that we can continue that.
Steven, good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
So that was Steven Burkhardt. Talked about some great things there, but the most important, I don't want to say most important, but the most relevant right now has been that 49-0 win over Shippensburg. This offense for Kutztown has just been exploding. They beat Assumption in their home opener 51-14. They beat Edinburgh 34-0, and then on the road they beat Gannon 46-7, 49-10 against Shepherd, and so 34 is the lowest amount they've scored this entire season against Edinburgh, and that was really because they took their foot off the gas relatively early in that game. So, I mean, this has been a terrific offense through the first 5 games of the season. As we'll take a look at some of the box scores from that game. Steven Burkhardt, namely, he had a fantastic game. 146 total rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He obviously had that 91-yard breakaway in the third quarter that came on the first play of that offensive drive. He averaged about 12 yards a carry. Ben Martin III, he got much more playing time with the absence of Jaden Stewart. He had 11 carries for 39 total yards, averaged about 3.5 yards a carry. Craig Miller got in there towards the end. He had 6 rushing attempts for 35 total yards. Judd Novak carried the ball 7 times, gained 18 yards, had a long of 9. Luke Maxwell had a couple of carries for 8 yards. Antonio Russo, who was the third-string quarterback, got in down the stretch. He had a rush for 5 yards. And Noah Grisilla tried an end around, but he went backwards for 8, or for -8, I should say. But the rushing attack for Kutztown was certainly, has always been the talking point of this team, and it's what they pride themselves on doing, establishing the run. But the passing attack has really taken a step forward in the last couple of games. Novak had another fantastic game after he had a great game against Shepherd. He went 18 for 25 for 287 total passing yards, had 3 touchdowns, no picks, has yet to throw a pick this season with a long of 50 on a 50-yard touchdown bomb. Only took 1 sack. Novak has only been sacked 4 times this year. That offensive line has been great. Novak's getting right of the ball. He's scrambling when he needs to. But a lot of things to like for this Kutztown offense against Shippensburg. And defensively, I mean, Shippensburg just could not do anything, or on offense, I should say, because of this Kutztown defense. Riley Gunnels had 10 completions on 21 attempts for only 32 yards passing in the end. That's their starting quarterback. Their backup came in, Vincent McCucci, and had 6 total passing yards on 4 completions. Gunnels threw a pick. That was a pick 6 to Michael LeMay, who took that one back to the house. Long of only 12 yards and took 2 sacks. Rushing attack also, only 56 total yards. So Kutztown held Shippensburg to under 100 yards of offense total. Defense imposed their will on the Raiders as they advanced to 5-0 with a 49-0 victory. Just a terrific game for the Golden Bears as it looks like no one can stop them right now, and they're number 4 in the country currently. We'll talk a little bit more about that poll in a little bit. Other teams around the conference have started to drop games. Kutztown still unbeaten. I believe they may be the only unbeaten team remaining in the PSAC, and they are. So the only unbeaten team left in the conference out of the East and West, as both Slippery Rock and Cal U have dropped games this past week to each other. Cal beat Slippery Rock last week. Then Slippery Rock went on the road to Gannon, who was previously winless, and they lost to the Golden Knights. Gannon picking up their first win of the year. Big upset against I believe Slippery Rock was ranked 14 at the time. They've since dropped out of the rankings at now 3-2. And then Cal also lost. I believe it was to IUP. Cal lost in that game, and those were the two other teams representing the top 25 in the national poll, and representing the PSAC, I should say, in the top 25, and they have since moved on. Actually, not true. Slippery Rock is still, they're tied for 24th after that game loss, so they're still ranked nationally there, and then Cal is at 16th, so they've dropped out of, I should say, really the top 15. They're still in the top 25, but Kutztown is now the lone PSAC team in the top 15. They are at 4. They have not moved since in a couple of weeks. They're still behind Ferris State, who won big over Roosevelt 66-0. Ferris State is another team that they just kill teams. Harding as well. They beat East Central 65-0. They will be at Southeastern Oklahoma State on October the 9th. That's in a couple of days. So we always keep an eye on Harding just a little bit because they're just such a fascinating team to watch. They're a run-heavy team. They run like the wing T offense. They've thrown the ball like 12 times this year, and they just annihilate opponents on the ground. It's pretty impressive to see in this modern football age, so we always keep an eye on them. West Florida at number 3. That's really the big discrepancy between the AFCA, which is the American Football Coaches Association's poll, which is what Kutztown uses for its rankings, and then D2.com. D2.com has had Kutztown at 3 pretty much all year. They've had them behind, whereas AFCA has had them behind Slippery Rock at points and West Florida. Not as high on West Florida as D2.com. They have Kutztown up there before what Kutztown recognizes itself. They see themselves as the number 4 team in the country. So that is how we will refer to them there from the American Football Coaches Association. Well, all in all, a fantastic game for Kutztown. They shut out the Raiders. It's the second time their defense has pitched a shutout against Shippensburg in 2 years. Shippensburg did get 2 points on a safety last year, but that was on a special teams punt that went over the head of the Kutztown punter out the back of the end zone. So you necessarily can't even really credit that to the offense. So for all intents and purposes, the second straight year that the Kutztown defense has shut out the Shippensburg offense in back-to-back years. So really remarkable as we look at some of the scoring here, or the box score, I should say. 23 total first downs for Kutztown compared to Shippensburg 7. They got 10 of them on the ground, 12 in the air, 1 through penalty. Kutztown had 530 yards of total offense compared to Shippensburg's. It's 94 officially yards that they have gains total against Kutztown on Saturday. Only 94 yards. Not going to win a game that way. Certainly didn't today. Kutztown gained their 530 yards on 65 plays. They averaged 8.5 yards a play. So just fantastic offense there. They did have to punt twice. They punted for 87 total yards compared to Shippensburg's 8 punts for 297 total yards. Almost had a kickoff return touchdown from Zach Perda. Would have been 100 yards if it stood, but there was a flag to open up the second half. So ultimately, that touchdown did not stand. Would have been another special teams touchdown. Would have been the 3rd week in a row, I believe, that Kutztown scored because of their special teams, which is also incredibly rare. But all kinds of things to like for this Golden Bear football team as we'll take a quick peek at where Kutztown holds up in the national rankings. They are now the number 4 scoring offense in the entire country. They're behind Ferris State, Central Washington, Albany State, at 1, 2, and 3. They're just in front of Harding, who has 44.8 points a game. Kutztown at 45.8. Kutztown, the number 2 scoring defense in all of the land. They average out 6 points a game allowed. They are behind Harding at 1, averaging just over 5, and Ferris State averaging just over 10 points a game, allowing to opposing offenses. So top 5 in offense and defense in the entire country is this Kutztown team. A ton of things to like as we look towards this Lock Haven game. If this is your first time, keep an eye. The remaining schedule for Kutztown is as followed. They are on the road at Lock Haven at 6 p.m. That is on this Saturday, October 11th, for a PSAC East matchup. And then they're back home against Millersville at 3 p.m. for a homecoming. That is October the 18th, a Saturday. Then they go on the road to Westchester at noon on October the 25th. Back home against East Stroudsburg on November the 1st. That is Military Appreciation Day. On the road once again at Bloomsburg on November the 8th. And then back home. It's currently scheduled to be against IUP, which after some big losses, I don't want to say we counted IUP out of being in the championship, the PSAC championship race, but it wasn't a team that was certainly circled. It was definitely Cal or Slippery Rock. Both of them have taken losses. IUP very much in it over there in the West. So if IUP is able to, take the PSAC West, they will come out to Kutztown on Senior Day on November the 15th for what could potentially be the PSAC championship if Kutztown continues to play the way they are and wins the East. They're looking to win the PSAC for the third straight time. Would be the first three-peat in program history if they're able to do so. And there's also some national championship aspirations for this Kutztown team as well. But looking at Lock Haven, that is, up first for Kutztown. They really start to take their first big look at Lock Haven today. According to the Burkhardt, Monday is a big, watch film day. They'll correct some things from Saturday and then look towards Lock Haven. Kutztown has controlled this matchup in the past. They have 22 wins to Lock Haven's 2 in program history. And if you want to look for the last time that Lock Haven has beat the Golden Bears, you have to go back to September 14th, 2002. Lock Haven won that matchup 21-14. But since then, Kutztown has won 16 straight against Lock Haven. Most recently in 2024, they did it in shutout fashion by a score of 24-0. They beat Lock Haven on the road in 2023, 7-3. 22, they got them 35-7, and then from there, it's been all Kutztown. Some close games over the history, but generally, it's been a couple scores. The closest one really was that 7-3 win in 2023. It was an ugly, sloppy game, but Kutztown ultimately came on top. That was the closest Lock Haven really has been to taking down the Golden Bears. They previously won in 1993 before that by a score of 52-30. The only times in Lock Haven's history that they have been able to beat the Golden Bears in their 24 total matchups. 22 wins for Kutztown, 2 for Lock Haven. Lock Haven certainly has some work cut out for them this Saturday as Kutztown comes to town for football. That will do it for our football talk here on the Golden Hour. We've have some other sports to get to. We have field hockey, soccer, and volleyball on the other end of the Golden Hour. We're going to take a quick break, and we will come back with some other winning fall sports here on the Golden Hour. It is the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown, and you are listening to the Golden Hour. We are back here underway on the show. And we talked about at the top of the hour, not just football that was getting it done here over this past week, field hockey as well, as we turn our attention to them. They had 2 massive wins since we have last been on the program, or I should say 4 massive wins if you really go back. They took down Mansfield on Saturday the 27th. That Mansfield ranked number 7 by a score of 3-2. They beat Roberts Wesleyan pretty handily by a score of 8-0. Beat number 4 East Stroudsburg on the road. First time in over a decade that they beat ESU at their own house. That was 3-1, the score in that one. And then they hosted number 6 Bloomsburg on October 4th this Saturday and got it done by a score of 2-0. Kutztown field hockey, number 2 in the country. Although I suppose I should double check. That was last checked a couple days ago. That could have changed for this upcoming week. They started at number 1 and have since moved down to Shippensburg. Shippensburg ultimately taking the reign at number 1 because of their performances there. So the updated poll still has Kutztown at 2. We'll have to wait a little while longer to see, maybe later in the day, to see if anything changes there. Usually mid-Monday that comes out. So as of now, Kutztown's still number 2 in the country, and they've done it in impressive fashion. They're number 1 in a ton of statistics, like goals per game, goals allowed. They lead the nation. Kutztown Field Hockey obviously looking to get back to their 3rd straight national championship game. They won it in 2023, came up just a bit short in 2024. So we take a look at some updated statistics. Kutztown has scored 66 goals, have only allowed 7 to their opponents, which is just an absurd rate. They've allowed 7 goals, they've allowed 7 goals while scoring 66 on their own end, I should say. They're 11-0 on the year, which is their best start in program history, with a 66-7 scoring margin. This has been... People were a little unsure of what this Kutztown team would be coming off the national championship loss, and they have looked extremely, extremely impressive over the last number of weeks or so of the season. As they get... This was really their... every game in the PSAC is tough. We talked about it with Coach Schewing when she joined the show a couple weeks ago. But that was really their toughest test, their toughest stretch, I should say, of games. Bloomsburg, East Stroudsburg, Mansfield. Millersville is a tough team, not nationally ranked, but certainly tough. Millersville, then they went right on the road to number 7 Mansfield. A game later, they're at number 4 East Stroudsburg. Now they're hosting number 6 Bloomsburg, and they beat all those teams. So they go to IUP. IUP always a tough matchup. Next Saturday is when, or this upcoming Saturday, I should say, is when Kutztown will be facing them. Then they are back home against Westchester on October 14th. That is a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Early game on October the 18th on Saturday. That is a 10 a.m. start versus Slippery Rock on homecoming. As also senior day at Andre Reed Stadium. Last home game until what is probably going to be the big one, November the 1st, Saturday against Shippensburg at 5 p.m. That will be a massive game for Kutztown. It usually is shaping up as it stands right now to be a battle between the number 1 and number 2 team in the country. We'll see, obviously how that shapes as the season goes on, whether or not, either Kutztown or Shippensburg will drop a game before that point. But, as of right now, it's shaping up to be a heavyweight battle between the two of those schools, and it's been an entertaining game in the past. Shippensburg usually has had the number of Kutztown. The last couple of years, they've played 3 separate times throughout the season. Shippensburg has typically gotten the first 2, usually a regular season matchup, and then they've played in the PSAC tournament, and they've gotten both of those games, eliminating Kutztown from the tournament. But Kutztown has usually been able to come back over the last couple of years and beat Shippensburg when they see them again in the national tournament. Shippensburg still 10-0 on the season. They play next against Millersville on Wednesday. They beat Westchester, who is number 5 in the country, 4-1. And I do have to have a correction. IUP is currently ranked number 9. Or they're 10th, I should say. Excuse me. So 10th ranked IUP. Millersville is number 8. So even more ranked teams than I initially had even checked, or initially had even seen, excuse me. So Millersville is number 8 in the country when Kutztown beat them. Then number 7, Mansfield. Now number 10, IUP. Westchester is up there in the rankings as well, or at least they were earlier on. Yes, they're number 5 in the country as of the latest poll. And then Slippery Rock. So getting through this stretch, the tougher stretches, you'd have to say, is done, but now it's part 2 of what is a brutal stretch here in the PSAC for this Kutztown field hockey program. Tons of top 10 teams that they are coming across here on their way to try and get back to the national championship. and also their first as many championship games that they've appeared in over the last number of years, they haven't won the conference. Have never done it in their program's history. So that's step one is win the conference. The PSAC is by far the toughest conference in Division Two. Field hockey, so many top 10 teams. I think eight. I want to say 8 of the 10 nationally ranked teams, if not 7 of the 10, come from the PSAC in the national ranking. So it's a brutal stretch for any team to make it through and win the conference, which seems like a lot. What Coach Swing was saying earlier, there was a number of years where the team that won the PSAC did not win the national championship because it took everything to get through what is a brutal, 3, sometimes 4 game stretch in the PSAC tournament. And, get past those teams and, you play Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. It takes everything you have to get through it. And all right, you're PSAC champions. Now you have to go in next week and play in a national tournament. A lot of times against PSAC teams as well because they get so many bids that you just don't have the gas. There's nothing left in the tank anymore, and they end up falling. On their way to win a national championship. And another PSAC team or a team from another conference who has not had to face this brutal schedule comes in and wins the national title. That's what St. A's did. And obviously, you don't want to say they were picking up the pieces. They certainly were a tough team and took down Kutztown 1-0 in the 2024 national championship. But they didn't have to play PSAC teams all year, right? So they were able to capitalize on Kutztown, who had tough matchups on their way to the national championship game. And ultimately, Kutztown was just 1 goal short of being back-to-back national champions in field hockey. They look to try and amend that loss this year and get back to the national championship. And a team that has a ton of depth. We've seen that they have a ton of different goal scorers. Does this Kutztown team? There's not really any one player you could point to. I mean, there's certainly your go-tos. There's Marissa Rice, Aaron Gonzalez, both 10 goals apiece. Jessica Traynor has 7. Marley Fetro has 5. Ellie Myers has 7 as well. But you go down this list, I mean, there's a ton of different goal scorers. I want to count it up real quick. I'm seeing 14 different goal scorers just on first glance, which is unbelievably impressive for this field hockey program to be able to do. To be able to spread the ball around, to have that many people contributing, to putting goals in the back of the cage, it's fantastic. And I've seen them play on a number of occasions. If you have the opportunity to call their games, they're an impressive team to watch. If you want to watch good hockey, it's right in your backyard. It's right here in the PSAC. It's right here at Kutztown University. One of the best teams in all of the country will play here in Division 2. So certainly a ton of things to like. And another team that has had a ton of things to like that has really turned around, this is Kutztown volleyball program. They have advanced. They won 1 match last year, just 1 out of 27. They have been teetering just over 500. They are 8-7 as it stands right now, coming off a big sweep of Millersville, which I would have to check when the last time that happened is. This past Saturday, football, field hockey, soccer, and volleyball did not allow, I guess volleyball's a little different. They swept their opponents. So volleyball, obviously, you have to win 3 sets to get a match. They won 3-0. Obviously, they allowed points in all of those sets, but they didn't give up a set. So I wonder when the last time that all 4 of those sports on the same day at home did not allow a single point in any metric. No goals for soccer, no goals for field hockey, not a single, touchdown, field goal, safety, anything for football, and then they set for volleyball. It was, when I say it was a remarkable weekend, it was a remarkable weekend. I would have to imagine that's probably the first time, if not one of the few, that's ever happened this past weekend here for our fall sports. Listen, they won 2 straight for the first time in a couple years. Date back to a couple weeks ago. They actually won 3 straight as they beat Lincoln again. They dropped to Goldie Peakham on the 27th, 3-2. But that's what we're seeing. You're very rarely seeing this Kutztown team go down 3 sets to 3. They're just getting swept. It happened against Holy Family to start off the year in their 3rd match of the year, and it happened against Cal in the Shannon Sullivan Memorial Tournament, uh, versus Cal on September 13th. But since then, if they've lost, it's been 3-2. They've forced to a fifth set, and if they've won, they're sweeping. They're winning hard fought matches. Is this volleyball team, and it's really just a testament to the program, the culture that Coach Barshinger is starting to build over there. They're really, convincing this team like, hey, this doesn't need to be a rebuild where I come in and all right, we're all right for a year, and then I start to recruit and bring in a lot of my players, and some of you are gone. Like, there's seniors on this team, and Coach Barshinger was like, we can win now with this team. This doesn't need to be, a rebuild that starts and goes, and we're seeing that they're just over 500. They've been teetering back and forth in out of conference play as they're now 1-1 after they dropped to Westchester on Friday but beat Mosville on Saturday, as they would go out to Shepherd and Shippensburg on Friday and Saturday this week on the road. Next home game will be October 13th. That is a Monday against Felician University. So we'll see how the Golden Bears fare out there. And then it's, just PSAC East play for the rest of the way against Bloomsburg, Lock Haven, East Stroudsburg on the road, then at home, Bloomsburg, Lock Haven again, and on and on and on. Last game of the year also against Shippensburg, this time on November 15th. And Kutztown, they're trying to make it back to the postseason for the first time since 2011. Is this volleyball program? They've had a lengthy playoff drought that they are looking to break. They are well on their way. They are doing some terrific work over there in the Keystone Arena and beyond out of the PSAC. This is volleyball program. We'll have a little bit more to talk about on the other end. We're going to briefly step aside here on the Golden Hour. Don't go anywhere. Back underway here on KUR. This is the Golden Hour. You are listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Getting back to our volleyball talk here. On the other end, we'll take a brief look at where Kutztown is looking statistically. They have 679 total kills, as we'll get the conference stats up here in a moment. We'll see where they stand against the rest of the PSAC. Going down, they have 319 errors, averaging about 11 kills per set or so. They're allowing 643 kills on their own end defensively. Because I'm currently 5th in the PSAC East. Obviously, it's a little early. Most teams only have, 1 or 2 conference matches under their belt. But Kutztown at 101 is currently at 5th. They're 8-7 overall. East Stroudsburg currently a team to beat in the East. They are 12-4, 2-0 in conference play. Shippensburg right behind them at 10-6. Westchester at 11-3, but 2-1 in conference play. Shepherd at 12-4, 2-1 in PSAC the PSAC, and then Kutztown 8-7 overall, 1-1 in the PSAC play. They're ahead of Lock Haven, Bloomsburg, and Millersville. Out in the West, Gannon is the team to watch over there. They're up 11-4, and their overall record, they are 3-0 in the West. So we briefly see where Kutztown is looking, because at the beginning of the year, they were pretty much in the bottom of every statistical category last year and through the first game or so of this year. So a lot that they had to improve, and they're doing so. They were bottom of the conference in points last year. They're currently at 11th. Opponent hitting percentage, they're 10th in the conference there. Their own hitting percentage, they're 12th. In assists, they're 7th, so that's a staple. They're setting up well. Opponent kills, they're 7th. They're 10th or they're 11th now in the conference of kills on their own right. Blocks, they're struggling up front in the block category, only averaging 1.31, per set. Kutztown is 15th out of 16th in the conference there. Service aces, they're doing very well in that category. They are 6th in service aces in the entire conference. And then digs, they are 5th. So we've seen a ton of improvement. They were pretty much bottom in all those categories to start, last year and then through the first couple of games of this season. Obviously, that kind of carries over a little bit. But, we're starting to, they're going upward. We've slowly but surely they're working their way, up the conference, and we've seen a ton of improvement here from this Kutztown volleyball program. Paige Skinner is the leader in kills. She has 194. Madeline Begovic right behind her with 188. Lauren Montgomery with 86. Grace White, fourth in the team in kills with 69. And Alice Haskins has 41. Sage Thibodeau leads the team in digs with 288. Madeline Begovic has 165. Emma Baldridge, 153. Paige Skinner, 117. And Mallory Hoke, 92. Emma Baldridge, by far the biggest leader in assists. She has 483. That trumps pretty much everyone else on the team in assists there. Alice Frank has 73. Sage Thibodeau, 53. Madeline Begovic has 13. And Mallory Hoke has 10. Grace White has 46 total blocks. She leads the team. Lauren Montgomery is 25. Haskins, 15. Macy Shoemaker, 11. And Begovic, 10. Begovic also leader in service aces with 30. Emma Baldridge has 21. Skinner has 21 as well. Thibodeau, 17. And Mallory Hoke, 15. So all kinds of positive momentum had by this Kutztown volleyball program as we take a look at the women's soccer team to close out today's show. They also had a big win on Saturday. Again, all four teams were in action at home, and all four teams that we look at picked up wins. It was a 1-0 victory over nationally ranked number 25 Bloomsburg. The Huskies were in town for soccer at Keystone Field. Kutztown beat them 1-0. That was coming off two back-to-back losses on the road against Westchester and Shippensburg, so certainly needed a win there. Corrine Morgan was the one that put it in the back of the net to score the lone goal of the game and ultimately win it for Kutztown, who 6-3 on the year as a soccer program, 4-3 in conference play. They're another team that made it all the way to the PSAC championship last year. Ultimately fell just short, 1/8 game in the national tournament before ultimately falling in round 2. It's been a very good soccer program for a number of years that we've seen. Taking a look at some of the conference stats here, Kutztown is 4th in conference in shots with 142. They are 5th in goals because of that with 19. Shepherd has 28. It's absolutely been the team to beat over there in the women's soccer PSAC division. IUP is 2nd with 31, but they have had one more game than Shepherd, so that's why they're behind them there. Gannon with 9 games have had 29. Millersville is 19. Kutztown is 19. Bloomsburg 21, but 10 games. Slippery Rock 15. So lowest scoring has been Mansfield. Mansfield has played 7 games, has yet to score a goal. Cal U has played 9, only has 1. Lock Haven has 7, along with East Stroudsburg, Seton Hill, and Pitt Johnstown. Some of the lower goal scorers over there. Kutztown 14th in saves with 34. As we take a look at the rest of the schedule, Kutztown goes out to Shepherd, the top goal-scoring team, on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. They will take on the Rams. Certainly will have their work cut out for them there defensively as we keep an eye on that matchup. Lock Haven back home for Senior Day on October the 11th. Make sure you get out there if you can this Saturday at 1 p.m. Millersville on the road. Back home against Westchester on the 22nd. East Stroudsburg, Bloomsburg road matches. And then again, another team that closes out their year against Shippensburg on November the 5th at 3 o'clock against the Raiders there. That is how they will close out PSAC East play and hopefully turn to the PSAC tournament, which will begin on November the 8th. We'll take a quick look at some of the leaders in the statistical categories for this women's soccer team before we bid you adieu here on the Golden Hour. Corrine Morgan is the leader in goals with 6. Caroline McDonald has 4, the second place there. Skylar Jordan, Reagan Corba has 2 apiece. Sarah Erb has one. Emma Gonzalez has one. Autumn Ostringer has one as well. Charlotte Routs, Jenna Pitts, all goal scorers for this soccer team. 19 total goals for Kutztown. They've allowed 7 from their opponents, averaging about 2 goals a game on 142 shots, 15 shots a game. Shot on goal, about 73 of them out of 142 total shots taken. But all in all, another very successful week. It has been a very successful season. This fall season been for the Golden Bears in all categories: football, soccer, field hockey, and volleyball, all having sustained success here. Of course, we'll have it for you every week, Monday at 2 o'clock here on the Golden Hour. I'm Tommy Scuderi here with you. We'll always have score updates, insights, discussions, interviews, everything you can imagine about all things Kutztown sports here on the Golden Hour. Thank you all for listening to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled programming.